Good afternoon. Welcome back to the War Room. And the final part, I hope, of the Epilogue, Part 2, which I had originally intended it just to be a one-parter. But anyway, because I wanted to cover just a little bit more detail on some of the Cavalry Rules and on the Reveal Rules, I thought I'd do a quick add-on to the Epilogue. And the first thing I wanted to mention too was something that in the rules that I am not real fond of, and that's if you look on the fire table and it gives you modifier on the fire table for more than 10 strength points of 10 or more strength points of artillery firing, but nothing for more than 10 strength points of infantry firing. It does give you a minus if there's less than 4 strength points of infantry firing, which seemed kind of silly to me, and especially if you have, and all the units have to fire basically as one at the unit that they're attacking. So it seems like if you've got 10, 20, 30 strength points of infantry firing at a unit, that's going to do more damage than just 4. And it seems like there should be a bonus just like there is for massed artillery firing, especially if they're firing from a different hex. So I play that way as a house rule, that for every 10 plus up to 2 you get a bonus for infantry fire. Another thing I wanted to cover quickly besides that is the Cavalry Rules. There's quite a few of them, and you can do quite a lot with Cav. And there's a whole section, of course, section 17, which is definitely worth reading. Cav can countercharge, and there's several different types of countercharge versus adjacent activated unit or versus moving enemy Cav. And Cav can also move through zones of control, which is another special feature they have. Cav can also retreat before combat. If a unit stack without Cav moves adjacent to a stack containing only non-routed Cav and or horse artillery, which were not previously adjacent to an enemy combat unit, the decision is taken immediately when the stack moves adjacent, and they can attempt to retreat. Cav can also pursue, and in some cases they have to pursue. And then Cav can make a prepared attack, which is if they don't, like in this case, say the Cav was out here and he was going to attack this infantry unit, he would spend 3 movement points and then go 4, 5 into the open to melee him there. And having spent 3 movement points preparing, he is now making a prepared attack, which he gets a bonus or a modifier to the die roll in his favor. So that there's cavalry fatigue as well, where if this Cav unit is already here and engaged with this unit here who manages to stay there, and then this Cav unit comes up from behind in effect and attacks him, when they resolve that, the Cav fatigue will count against the one that was already engaged against the enemy unit. And then you have an emergency defense option versus Cav that you can take. If a lead infantry unit is attacked by a lead Cav unit, it can attempt an emergency defense QFT. To attempt an emergency defense option, the lead infantry unit must not be in defense order and not be adjacent to another hex with a lead enemy infantry. And then there's good examples in the rule book that walk through all this and explain it, but it's some of the things to be keep in mind and to try and remember all these things. And there's also Cav flanking attacks, in which case the Cav strength points are doubled for the die roll calculations. And a flank attack is achieved when a lead Cav unit attacks in melee combat a lead infantry unit in clear terrain, which was already adjacent to a stack with a lead enemy infantry unit, here to this guy who's already adjacent to, say, this unit, and is still adjacent to a stack with a lead enemy infantry unit at the time of the melee attack, and is not in defense order. And an emergency defense cannot be claimed by the defender. So you need to read through these and get a handle on these before you try to play, because there's kind of a lot of exemptions and exceptions too as well in here. And then cav attacking together with infantry, they get a bonus and for fire, which is one of the big advantages for sort of coming around with your cav. And besides scouting, it also allows you to get a bonus when these guys fire, because it's assumed, I guess, you're more afraid of the cav than you are of the fire, and you go into square. And so then artillery and infantry fire will get a bonus. And you also you get a melee bonus too as well. The other thing I wanted to cover, and as I said, you need to go over the examples and the rules and read up on them to make sure you're getting them right, because I'm not totally sure I have them right completely. Then the last thing I wanted to cover with a little more detail was just a quick summary of the rules regarding revealing hidden units. When this cav unit comes over the hill here, and Picton is hidden, it is two hidden markers, and this one happens to be the real one. You know, it doesn't matter, say it's here, and he has a line of sight to him because of the restrictions of the particular scenario, in this case it being 6. He's now spotted, and this could also be any unit, not just cav, but it could be another concealment marker. And even if it's not a real concealment marker, as I understand it, once the concealment marker comes up over the hill, they can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he can see, all 3 of them can see each other, and they're immediately revealed. And if it's a leader, he goes, or the leader or a unit goes down in that place. In this case, it would be here, and this one would be revealed as a dummy and would go off. And then what happens is you take the division, in this case Picton's, which is a rather large one, and it has to be within 4 hexes. They have to be laid down within 4 hexes of the spotted hex. And so in this case, Picton marks the spotted hex. Now, Picton doesn't necessarily have to go there. You can put anybody you want there. So you could put these 2 guys here, and then everybody else, and Picton you can put off to one side, and you could put there once you lay out all the others. But the restrictions are they have to be at least 1 hex further away from the enemy unit that revealed the formation, even if it was a decoy. So you could string them out down the road, and the next batch would have to go there, and say the next batch would go there, and you continue spreading them out down the road, so they're 1, 2, 3, 4 away. And so then this is a big division, so you'd have to spread them out, such as, say, for that. And then Picton could actually go down on anywhere on the stack. He could actually be back here, for example. Now, the other thing is they have to be at least 2 hexes away from the other enemy units. So if there was, say, an enemy unit here, they could still come on down the road. But if there was an enemy unit here, say, they'd have to go like this and be pushed away from him. They also can't be any further away in hexes from the nearest friendly supply source. So that prevents you basically from saying, okay, the marker was here, it was the correct marker, not the dummy marker, and so then I'm going to place them like this, you know, to get them further along the road. So you can't do that. They would have to be from where Picton was on back, as we had them spread out before. So they need to be closer, and they could be out here too. Nothing that says they have to be on the road. They could, as long as they're within 4 of that initial spot, they can, and they're not farther away from the supply point back on the Brussels road, and they're not closer to the enemy or closer well, further away from the supply point. So they could be spread out in a lot of different formations. So I just wanted to cover that real quick and show you the fire results table I had found. I'm gonna pick this up, so I'm gonna slide all these guys over here. And the fire result table I like because everything is basically on this one page. Everything for fire is on one side, and then everything for melee is on the other side. And as I mentioned, I got a lot of these off of Board Game Geek, and I like their stuff quite a bit. They have a lot of good articles and commentary and support forum for just about any game you could think of. So there was that card I liked. Oh, I also liked, I don't know as I showed it real well, but I do like their terrain effects chart, which is nicely laid out, and it has all the movement costs, fire and melee die roll modifiers on it, and tells you what the effects of the various types of terrain are. And then on the back it has a unit identification card, which I like a lot too. It's nice and colorful, shiny. And the last card I found that I like quite a bit is the Cavalry Rules reference card. And once you have a handle on the rules, this one is kind of a good memory jogger to help you keep it all straight. So that pretty much sums it up, what I like, what I don't like about it. I enjoy playing it, looking forward to getting into the other ones. I may do some videos on them later on, but I think I'm going to do something from World War II or the Civil War next. We'll do a couple of shrink openings and maybe a little playthrough on Death Valley or the Dark Sands or possibly Stalingrad 42. So thank you very much again for watching, and take care. Have good gaming all around to everybody, and remember, no fighting in the war room. Thanks. Take care.